Hello everyone, this is Dr. Prasad Padilam, continuing my class series with the study material as such, not the PowerPoint. Not getting time to prepare the PowerPoint, so started preparing the studying, teaching using the notes itself. Okay, so this is for BBOC, Biology for Engineers for Computer Science stream. That is the students who have joined engineering under Vishecha Technology University in the year 2022 onwards. For them, this particular syllabus I am handling. Okay, my video classes are available at my intuition 4865. This is moving to module 3. Module 4 is also ready. Will be teaching one at the earliest because almost the semester is going to end. I was busy with some other academic activities, monitoring those works. Okay, so the syllabus of module 3, it is adaptation of anatomical principles for bioengineering design. Okay, so a little bit applied field it does now. So the syllabus is given: brain as a CPU system, eye as a camera system, heart as a pump system, lung as a purification system, kidney as a filtration system. So this is very interesting topic because it is directly connecting somewhere near to the robotics. Because now we are reached in a world where we have to move ahead. We cannot simply sit and study only the science stream. Applied applications we need to understand. Therefore, for that comparison of the living thing, because most of everything, almost all the technological advancements are based on how the nature this particular thing is working. Based on that, it is done. So now, if you want to make a robot with the coding and connecting to the electronics as well as other mechanical parts to that, one should know how the natural system work and how a comparison can be done. Therefore, the first question given, that is, explain how the brain structure and functioning can be compared to a computer's CPU, and evaluate how these principles can be applied in designing the neural networks in artificial intelligence. Okay, so it's connecting to the artificial intelligence, how the artificial intelligence and the brain intelligence, how it can be connected. Okay, not going in depth but still connecting these two things. That is what is the actual requirement of for computer science stream. If this particular syllabus is the means, I cannot tell that brain is this CPU computer work like this. You need to connect it to the advanced level. Therefore, it is level 3 question, connecting to CO3 of the course outcome given in the syllabus. Okay, so the mark distribution: comparison of brain structure to CPU, it carries 3 marks. Explanation of the brain functioning and the CPU operation, 3 marks. Application of these principles in neural network design, that carries 4 marks. So this is the simple comparison which I took from the research paper, directly mentioned here. Can go to that research paper in depth. They are mentioned, which simply I am giving this comparison of how the computing as well as the brain computing system with the conventional one Neumann computing system is done. Okay, so this is how the brain computing system it is analyzed and kept. That this is how the brain do the computing, and this is how the normal computer CPU do this functioning computer and the memory cell. Here also you can see neurons and the synapses. Synapses means again they are the memory cells only. Okay, so first point, that is comparison of a brain structure to CPU. So that comparison is given here. The central processing unit, the function. The central processing unit, it is primarily component of the computer which performs most of the processing inside the computer. It executes instructions from programming to perform arithmetic, logic, control and input-output operations. For a computer science stream students, this is nothing to be explained. I can simply read it and go. Okay, so control unit, CU, that directly operates the processes. Arithmetic logic unit, ALU, performs the arithmetic and logical operations. Registers small storage location for quick data access, and cache, that is the memory storage for frequently access to access the data to speed up processing. Whereas the brain it is the central organ of the nervous system in human and other vertebrates. It processes sensory information, it controls body functions and enables the thought, memory and emotions. Okay, so we have neurons. They are the primary cells which are responsible for processing and transmitting information, passing information. the wire connection between our body, different parts of our body. Okay, so it consists of dendrites, which give the input, is the soma, which is a cell body, and it has got an axon, that is the output. Okay, neuron structure, everyone knows how a neurons look like. You studied in a very basics biology. You studied what you studied, that only connecting here. Okay, so the synapses, it is a junction between neurons where the information is transmitted via neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters means the impulse which is given, by which from one neuron to the other neuron the signal is passed, so that whatever the brain given instruction, it reaches there, and from our body different parts, whatever the information to be reached to our brain, that also passed through the neurotransmitters. Cortex, it is the outer layer involved in the complex function like memory, attention, perception, cognition, and the consciousness. These are done by cortex. Subcortical structure, it includes thalamus, hypothalamus, and basal ganglia, which are involved in various functions like emotions and memory. So this is just basic introduction is given. So the summary I can say, comparison of the structure, how the human body structure, brain, and the remaining connecting structure, and how the CPU, central processing unit of a computer, how their comparison, if you compare both the CPU and the brain processes information and they execute the instructions. The CPU uses electrical signal for processing, while the brain uses the electrochemical signals through the so-called the neurotransmitters. Neurons in the brain can be compared to the transistor in the CPU, both serving as the fundamental units for processing the information. Now, explanation of brain function and CPU operations. The brain functioning, it is given. Information processing, the brain processes information from the sensors, integrates it, and generates appropriate responses. And parallel processing is there. The brain can perform many tasks simultaneously, such as breathing, maintaining heartbeat, thinking, reading, everything. What we do, that only I am telling here. That is called as parallel processing in which use computer science students may be knowing what is the parallel processing word. Plasticity, the brain can adapt and recognize itself by forming new neural connections throughout the life. That is called plasticity. Learning and memory involves changes in synaptic strength and formation of new neural pathways. Okay, what about CPU operations? Instruction execution. The CPU fetches and decodes, executes instruction from computer's memory. The clock speed determines how many instructions per second the CPU can process. Parallelism is the modern CPUs have multiple cores that can handle different tasks simultaneously, similar to the brain's parallel processing. And efficiency, it uses cache to reduce access time for frequently used data, just like similar to that of brain's use of synapses to strengthen frequently used neural pathways. So if you compare, okay, this is the functioning given, or CPU operation is given. Okay, if you compare, both system perform the data processing and execute instructions, although the mechanism are different. The brain's parallel processing capability is analogous to the multi-core CPU, not one CPU, multi-core CPU connection, that much work our brain is doing. Learning and memory in the brain are similar to the data storage and retrieval in computer. That is the comparison between brain functioning and CPU operations. Now moving on to the applications, how it can be connected to the neural network designs. Neural networks in AI, it is inspired by the brain only. Neural networks are computational models which are inspired by the way biological neural network in brain process information. That means we are very lagging behind our students, the engineering students. The level of thinking is have to improve, because already these are all executed by studying the brain. People already studied biology, computer science experts. They didn't say that I am only a computer science engineer, I do only coding. No, they have analyzed different biological systems. Based on that, they already neural networks are designed. Computer neural networks you might have studied in a higher semester. Maybe fourth semester means already it has been got introduced to you. Okay, so the neural network, it is inspired by that of biological network, how it works. So a comparison it is given here. So this is how the biological neural network work, based on that the eye seeing a cat and whatever the work one, and finally you say that it is a cat. The word given to that particular animal is cat, that fed in already in our mind, and when we see that it is processed. Okay, so it is inspired by the brain only, the neural network in artificial intelligence. The structure, it consists of layers of interconnected nodes, neurons, including an input layer, a hidden layer, and an output layer. Learning uses algorithms such as the backpropagation to adjust the weights of connections based on the error in output, mimicking the synaptic plasticity. Okay, moving to the key principles which are applied. The key principles are parallel processing, hierarchical learning, and adaptability. Neural network perform parallel processing where multiple neurons process data simultaneously, similar to the brain functioning. Hierarchical learning, neural network can learn a hierarchical representation of data similar to that of brain's hierarchical process of sensory information. Adaptability is the neural network can adapt and improve performance over time through training, mirroring the brain's learning capabilities. Practical applications, this is somewhat more interesting. Image recognition, natural language processing, autonomous systems, deep learning models. These are the things that computer science students learn, how it is connected to the biological system that mentioned here. Okay, this is nothing new for a computer science student. The conventional neural network, CNNs, they are used for tasks such as facial recognition, object detection, inspired by the brain's visual processing pathways. Okay, so the natural language processing, NLP, the recurrent neural network, RNNs, and the transformers are used for language translation, sentiment analysis, and more, inspired by the brain's sequential processing of language. I seen many familiar projects nowadays. Nowadays, they are using CNNs and RNN concept working for that. Autonomous systems, deep learning models enable autonomous vehicles and robots to process sensory information and make decision in real time. Okay, so image I presented here, which I took from the reference which is mentioned here, relating conventional neural network to the brain areas processing. This is how it is connected. Okay, so the recurrent neural network, the RNN, how does it work? That also given in this image, which you can understand. So you can say that neural network, they leverage the principle of brain functioning to perform complex tasks in artificial intelligence. The adaptability and parallel processing capabilities of neural networks are directly inspired by brain's structure and operations. Mimicking the brain processor, and artificial intelligence system can achieve high efficiency and perform in various applications. So that about the first question answer, how the comparison is done, so that connect to explain the brain structure and function in comparison to that of computer CPU, and how these principles applied in designing the neural networks in artificial intelligence. Okay, so it's simple for a computer science student, but not so simple for a biology teacher. Question number 2, analyze analogy of a brain as CPU in the context of parallel processing. Discuss the impact on the development of parallel computing system. Again, course outcome 3. Level of question is 3. It carries 10 marks. Mark distribution, analysis of brain as a CPU and parallel processing, 5 marks. Discussion of impact on parallel computing system, that is 5 marks. Only discussion here also. Not much depth it is not going. So the brain's architecture and functionality characterized by the distributed and parallel processing, the high connectivity and the fault tolerance provided an effective model for understanding and designing advanced parallel computing system. And the brain's parallel processing capability have significantly impacted the development of parallel computing system. leading to advancement in multi-core processors, neural network, AI, energy efficiency. All those what you are studying, what you are learning, or what you will study in future, these are based on how the brain is working. It's not that they created something from nowhere. By seeing, by analyzing the functioning of brain only, all these systems are developed. Parallel computing system, the multi-core processors, neural networks, the artificial intelligence, anyhow it is intelligence is how our brain works. Similarly, the computer should work. That is brain work functioning only. Then energy efficient computing architectures based on that. If exactly one can replicate a system of that of a brain, and the how the decision is taken, if they can code it, then it will be a perfect robot, which will hopefully will not destroy the humans, supporting the human. Considering the humanity, it will work. Okay, so analysis of brain as CPU and parallel processing, 5 marks. The brain as a CPU is the first point. Then neurons as processing unit, the second point, and how the brain's parallel processing mechanism is done. The key features enabling parallel processing in brain. This much, if you can understand and write, that can be considered as 5 marks. Analysis of brain as CPU and parallel processing. So here it is connecting to the parallel processing. So brain is the central processing, like the CPU. Brain also processes information centrally, fetches, decodes, is executing instructions. While the brain processes sensory input, makes a decision and execute actions. Brain coordinates various body functions similar to the CPU controls the peripheral devices, coordinates different computing tasks. The neurons in brain function as the individual processing unit, communicate through synapses, similar to that of transistors, logic gates in CPU. So what a comparison. The brain performs a massive parallel processing through interconnected networks of neurons, processing multiple streams of information simultaneously. So again, it is being compared with that of CPU and parallel processing. There's no much, too much biology is not there, too much computing also not there. A simple comparison is given that everyone can understand. Okay, so brain's parallel processing mechanism is also compared and kept here. Distributed processing, simultaneous task execution, plasticity and adaptability. The brain's different regions, they specialized in various tasks. Example, the visual processing in the occipital lobe, the motor control in the motor cortex. These are the examples which are similar to the distributed processing in the parallel computing. So what is parallel computing? That computer science student should know, and how it is connected to the brain's task, that is compared here. Then another comparison mechanism of processing, like simultaneous task execution. Brain can handle a multiple tasks at once, such as walking, while talking, while listening, reading, similar to the multi-core CPU executing multiple thread simultaneously. Okay, so multi-core CPU, you know what is multiple thread simultaneous, multiple threads, that also you know. Okay, so just compare that, it is a simultaneous task execution that is needed in a computer system, similar to that of a brain system. Plasticity and adaptability, the brain ability to rewire and adapt, which is called the neuroplasticity, allows for efficient parallel processing and learning, which is being compared to that of dynamic load balancing and recognition in the parallel system. Key features enabling parallel processing in the brain: high uh, high connectivity, extensive connectivity between neurons enables efficient communication and the parallel information processing. First point, that is high connectivity. Then redundancy and fault tolerance. Redundant pathways and networks they provide fault tolerance, allowing the brain to maintain functionality even if some neurons are damaged. Similar to the redundancy in parallel computing system, means if any one line of information if it is lost, there will be a parallel way to reach another alternate way to reach the information to reach where it has to reach. That about the 5 marks, the brain has a CPU, central processing controller and coordination, neurons and processing unit, neurons and synapses, parallel processing, brain's parallel processing mechanism, distributed processing, simultaneous task execution, plasticity and adaptivity. These are the main points that a student has to record, which they can do very easily. And the key features enabling parallel processing, that is high connectivity, redundancy and fault tolerance. These are the things which are connected to the 5 marks. That analysis of brain as, because question says analyze the analogy of brain as CPU in context of parallel processing, then its impact on development of parallel computing system. Okay, so how the these things are impacting on a parallel computing system, inspiration of parallel architecture, multi-core processors, the brain's ability to process tasks in parallel inspired by the development of multi-core processors, where each core can handle different tasks concurrently. Means comparing the brain's ability only, the multi-core processors are developed. Okay, may not be working same as that of brain, but the same concept is used. It should work in that way. Then neural network, the artificial neural network ANNs, they are designed to mimic the brain's structure and function, form the foundation of a modern AI. The modern AI is because of our brain only. Comparing the brain, AI is used, and the machine learning concepts. They are also by comparing to that of brain only. Okay, so AI is the advanced computing, artificial intelligence, the machine learning or data science, whatever it may be. That is the new terms comes in computer, not just coding. Okay, advancement in parallel processing technologies, GPU computing, parallel algorithm are the 2 points in parallel processing technologies. The graphical processing unit GPUs, which are originally designed to render the images, which have become very essential for parallel processing tasks due to the high number of cores inspired by brain's parallel processing capabilities. Then parallel algorithms. The parallel algorithms also divide task into smaller subtasks processed simultaneously by multiple processors, which are reflecting the brain's distributed processing. Okay, so parallel processing technologies, the GPU computing parallel algorithms, these are inspired by the comparing to that of brain. Applications in AI and machine learning, deep learning, cognitive computing, these are the two terms which comes in mainly the new era learning, what you need to learn, how it is introduced. Okay, deep learning, cognitive computing and all will be studying in higher semester. AI ML and AIDS students, anyhow they'll be studying in depth, and computer science or information science or similar type of branch students will be learning about what is deep learning, what is cognitive computing. Deep learning not going deep and learn. Concept is different. Deep learning algorithms, they are modeled after brain's hierarchical processing layers, have revolutionized the field such as image and speech recognition, natural language processing, and autonomous systems. Cognitive computing systems such as the IBM Watson, they use brain-inspired architecture to process vast amount of data. They learn from it, provide insights and solutions. Enhancements in computational efficiency, energy efficiency, scalability are the two terms under enhancements in computational efficiency. Brain inspired computing focuses on achieved high computational efficiency with low power consumptions, which are similar to brain's ability to perform complex tasks with a minimum energy. Parallel computing system are designed to be scaled, allowing for the addition of a core processor to handle larger and more complex tasks, inspired by the scalable nature of neural networks in the brain. Okay, so energy efficiency and scalability also compared. then future directions of computing or the work which is going on, research going on, and the innovations, neuromorphic computing, quantum computing, development of neuromorphic chips which emulates the brain's neural architecture and functionality, which enable high efficient parallel processing and learning. Quantum computing, research into quantum computing, which holds the potential for exponential parallelism, is influenced by brain's ability to process information in parallel. Okay, so that's about brain and CPU. Next is human eye, that I will cover in the next video. Okay, so two questions I have prepared on the brain as CPU. Both are very much useful for the computer science students. Okay, it will not be difficult for a computer science students to understand, but for a biology, pure biology person, it will be difficult to understand because more terms are introduced compared to that of computing. Because brain already, what is the structure of brain, how the functioning, all those biology part was there in module 1 and module 2 also covered. Module 3 it comes about the adaptation of analytic principle for bioengineering design. So matching to that theme and matching to the course outcome given, uh, for a computer science students, this is very easy to understand, very easy to analyze, and connect the points because they are studying it in depth. So here only its introduction is given. This is how the things are connected: parallel processing, hierarchical learning, the image recognition, natural language processing, then AI, the distributor processing, all these terms, multi-core processing, GPU computing, parallel algorithms, deep learning, cognitive computing. These are the terms that you know already, computer science students know already. Therefore, very easy for you to score marks. Nothing to worry about thinking that it's biology. It's not biology as such. Biological concepts, how it can be, how it is used in computing, that is very much interesting for it to learn. So thank you very much for watching my videos. We'll meet in next class.